Well, it's good to see you guys. Hello, Mother. So welcome to Street Art or Urban Art with Gabe. Just kind of some background. Street art, well, so I grew up always interested in visual art. You can talk to my mom, she can affirm that. But I've taken different art classes as a kid. And then it wasn't until high school, one of my best friends, who used to actually go here, PFC at the time, we're both into art, and we both kind of stumbled upon street art right as it started kind of getting popular. And pretty much street art can involve, and it's not limited to, but graffiti, but pretty much it can range anywhere from stencils to posters to stickers to sculptures that are pretty much put on display for free, which I found really cool and fascinating. Actually, I sent Jasmine some pictures of, I'll leave them anonymous. My friend and I, back in the day, climbing buildings and putting up posters. I won't condone this kind of stuff as it is technically illegal. But you can enjoy these pictures of me when I used to do it. So, huzzah.
Okay, cool. I'll show those. And then, Gabe, I don't know, you're a little blurry, so I don't know if you're on your Wi-Fi or.
Yeah.
Anyway,
probably.
Just to let you know while I show these, maybe.
Yeah.
He seems pretty clear to me. I don't know.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's me.
So my friend and I are wandering the streets of Los Angeles or Pasadena. You can go to the next one. So that poster actually, that's the heart stencil where I actually got this tattoo from. I actually made that original stencil in Amsterdam on a mission trip, and I brought it back. And then that's when I started getting into street art. But yeah, so right there, I'm wheat pasting some posters onto a wall. You can go to the next one. Onto an electrical box, and I have like a little creature poster character. So in street art, not everybody, but like you can have a street art name to be anonymous, but you can still write your name to your work. So my name was Creature, because I don't know. I did these little creature faces all the time. Like this is a sticker, but yeah. So Jasmine, you can go to the next one. That's really dark, but that's my friend putting up one of his. You can go to the next one. Oh, this one's kind of interesting. We're off in the very far background climbing on top of a building. And you know what's funny? I think Shauna took this picture. But like even this wall right here, this giant mural done, that's another form of street art. You can go to the next one. That's here in Pasadena. This was, I think, in 2011, maybe. So like 9 years ago, which is pretty crazy. Yeah. And I think this was in Pasadena too. But I don't know, like once you get into street art, this is also in Pasadena. This is right by the Mama and Papa's, or Big Mama and Papa's Pizza. And I don't know if there's any more. Or is that it, Jasmine? Oh yeah, I like that one. Cool. That's in Pasadena too. This was all a while ago, but yeah. So I mean, so those are just kind of examples of what I've done in the past. But street art for me, I find it fascinating because you're making art available for anybody, either to participate in or to view, which I think is almost a little scandalous because it kind of levels the playing field a bit, where really anybody can join and participate as well as just enjoy and walk the streets and view. James is walking by right now. So that's what drew me to street art. And I mean, I like the style. Again, graffiti can be used for, I know people just associate it with gang activity and stuff, but that's not always the case. Did you need to get in?
I just want to watch it.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean that.
It's all good. I have a live audience member. And so it's not necessarily always the case. Really, street art kind of rose because people wanted to make their mark and leave their mark on the world and put their name on something, you know. And one of my all-time favorite street artists, Shepard Fairey, for those who might know Obey, that brand, he started that. And it's really cool because he's someone that was encouraging his friends to do it. And his original Andre the Giant stencil, he just cut out of a newspaper one day and was teaching his friend how to stencil. So he used that as an example, and it blew up into this giant thing that he never intended. But it's pretty crazy, the story of that. I won't go into his story, but if you are interested, there's a documentary on Hulu about Shepard Fairey and his whole story and upbringing and how he got into street art. And it's really fascinating. I would encourage you to watch it. But, you know, with art being available to everybody, I don't know, I think it changes things a bit. And, you know, I kind of go back and forth between like, does bad art exist, you know? And I'm like, well, I think there can be bad technique, you know, but I mean, everybody can do art, whether it's, I mean, there's different forms of art. So that's a very broad and blanket kind of statement. Like there's music, I mean, dancing, all different kinds of art. So I won't necessarily say you can do bad art, but what I will say does kind of qualify as bad art is like, where is it coming from? So a lot of street artists use their medium to convey a message or literally just to put their name out there, to, in that sense of be noticed. But there are a couple street artists who, you know, I'll use the term sell out. They'll just kind of follow the trend or do what's kind of cool. But I mean, like, if you're having fun, I guess that's cool. I don't really know where I'm going with this, but as long as
can I ask or make a quick
yes,
whatever visual comment? So I noticed the electrical box that you guys wheat pasted on. Dude, it just occurred to me they actually have on electrical boxes like murals, like the whole box is covered now. And you guys totally started something way back in the day. And by the way, just to speak a little bit to the illegality part of it, y'all using wheat paste made it non-permanent. So therefore it was not a sort of a way around that illegal. And I'm not just speaking from the mother of an artist, but you know, but it was very inspiring. And I remember driving to work one day and I saw on one of the overhead passes on the freeway, just the words stomp stenciled. And I was like, wow, for some reason that was super inspiring to me. And yeah, it was a great thing to see. And I still see it now, and even more in a permanent sense because it's actually been painted on. And that's something that you guys started back in the day. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the other thing too. It's like, now it's becoming more recognized in like buildings and or like building owners or business owners will give permission to artists to do a mural on a wall of their business, or like the city will do those murals on the electrical boxes. And that, I mean, that's a form of street art. It's art that's available to anybody. And yeah, exactly that, what my mom was saying about wheat paste is probably the, like, if I were to scale in terms of like how much trouble you can get in for what you do, probably like spray painting directly onto something, probably the worst. Then would be like tagging something with the marker. Probably after that, stickers / wheat pasting posters. You could take those off a little easier. So I was doing probably like the safest version of everything because I didn't want, I mean, I was a minor at the time. So if I got in trouble, my parents got in trouble. So I didn't want that. But yeah, I don't know. I love street art because it's so, to me, a little bit raw and gritty, and because it comes from anybody and you really don't know who it is coming from. There's such a huge range of style and just the messages that can be interpreted. I don't know, I love it. Like Banksy is like a big, like, I'm pretty sure everybody here knows who Banksy is. Art to always speak a message, whether that's against police brutality, or he has many different pieces and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'll kind of open it up. But are there any kind of questions or just comments about street art or what it means to you guys, or I don't know? Yeah. If that's a no, then I'll continue. Cool. So another thing that I really like about it is once you get involved with it, you kind of see it everywhere. You don't really notice until you start looking for it, but how much art is everywhere. And I think it's actually more, I will say spiritual, in the sense of like, it really kind of makes you have to be in the moment. You got to be present to really look and notice these things. Because I mean, how many times do we just drive by either on the street or on the freeway, or even just walking, and you're in a hurry to get somewhere, and you miss everything that's around you. But what street art, I mean, really, you can apply this to anything. Like, I mean, nature and just life around you, architecture, like many different forms of art. It really kind of calls for you to be still and really stop and look at these things. And really, like, look at the way they painted something. Like, oh, did they use the stencil? Did they screen print? Or, oh, I'm curious about what they meant by this. That's one of the biggest reasons I love street art, because I mean, you go to a museum, you go to a gallery, and it's that whole sense of like, it's really quiet usually, and you kind of make your way slowly through the gallery, right? But I mean, you kind of flip that inside out, and it's like, this is our gallery. And really, I think that's a call to life, is like, you can't just be still in some places and then just hurry. And like, if you apply that to anything, really, I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. I know everybody's different, and everybody's wired differently, operates differently. But for me, that's kind of my center, is being still. Whether that's dealing with high anxiety, high stress, or really just any kind of trauma in my life, finding stillness and just being quiet always centers me. And so I think with that being deeply embedded of who I am, that's why I was super drawn to street art, because I mean, you have to be present to where you're at. But yeah, anyways, I'll do a little demonstration. So I made a bunch of posters and stencils, and I recreated my heart one. I have this little wooden board, if you guys can see that. I'll move it more. I can't really move it. I'll just shift.
Can you move it? Oh yeah, or move your camera.
Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So here I have made homemade glue. This is wheat paste. It literally is just flour, water, and a little bit of sugar. And this stuff is amazing. Like, you can stick posters anywhere. Again, I'm not telling you go out and do some graffiti. That's not exactly what I'm saying. But you can do it on a wood board, or if you have a wall in your house or outside, or you get permission from someone, you can do endless stuff with it. So I always use newsprint paper, which is the same stuff that newspapers are made. It's called newsprint. But I find that it sticks better, and that it, I don't know, it's thin enough to where you can just paste it on easily. But this is the kind of original, like you saw some of those pictures. So I recreated the stencil and the heart and everything. And I love, like, when you get to meet a street artist and you kind of hear the story behind some of their art. I mean, like any artist, really. Like for this, for those who don't know, who haven't heard the story. So I created this, the heart stencil, kind of during one of the more tougher times of my life. At the time, my parents were getting divorced, and, it was kind of like all up in the place. My dad was out of the picture for a while. And I was dealing with a lot of pain that was kind of masked by anger. You can ask my mom. But I don't know. I saw the design and I liked it, and then I kind of modified it to where there's a few pieces missing. And to me, it's like a broken heart, but that still shines beautifully. I mean, brokenness is, I think, beautiful. So, I mean, that's super vague. I mean, you can interpret that any way you want. But this is literally me putting my heart on my sleeve and then putting it out there. I think it's a simple message that can be interpreted in any way, really. But yeah, so I'll just teach you guys how to wheat paste. So this little batch I made, it's pretty much what, two cups water. You boil that. And then once it reaches boiling, separately, you're gonna mix together about 8 tablespoons of flour, and then just enough water for it to be liquid, like pourable. And then once your other cup or your 2 cups of water are done boiling, you're gonna mix them together, stirring until it thickens, and then take it off the heat, and then add about I'd say 16 tablespoons of sugar. And that's going to make it really sticky and kind of last a bit longer. So if you're curious how to make wheat paste, that's how you do it. All right. So anytime you're applying wheat paste, always put it on your surface first. Make sure you get enough on there. And you always want to make sure it's as flat as possible. You want to push out any air pockets that might form. And you just want to go back over it with another coat. And voila, you've successfully put up a poster. The cool thing with wheat paste is you can make a lot for real cheap. And I've used this method like even overseas on mission trips for teaching an art workshop, making posters and teaching kids how to do this stuff. You literally just go to the store and like get flour, sugar, and you have water, and bam, you have homemade glue. And then it'll dry super strong. When you're putting up a poster and you have the thrill of like, you have to kind of hurry. Again, I don't really condone that, but I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fun. And actually, I was kind of on a binge last night. I made a bunch of posters, and I may or may not have gone around the city and put up a couple. So feel free to look for those.
I think.
And here you go. I won't tell you where they're at.
I think I was one of your first drivers, Gabe, to drive you and your friend around to post them up.
What happened?
The city. I was one of your first drivers that drove you and your friend around to dropped you off to post them up in the getaway car too.
Yep. Thank you for that, Mother.
How long would you say that would last outside, like in the sun and the elements?
So it really, like, it's good against everything except primarily water. So if there's like a huge rainstorm, it will deteriorate it a bit. And I mean, it's not the greatest glue in the world. It's like, I don't know, the same of like what you'd use for paper mache, essentially. But you can always, this will probably, I mean, it'll last a while until someone tries to tear it off. They won't be able to tear the whole thing off. Like, they'll be able to tear pieces at a time. But then, I mean, it can always be removed by a power washer. So, but it does last for a while. We had originally in the PYC. Oh yeah, what's up?
Oh no, did you just you just made a stencil and spray painted? Is that what you did to make the posters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. So I can show you the stencils, and what I like when I was a kid, I was very impatient, so I would always like rush because I do layering, like, you know, I'll do one kind of base image, and then I'll do more. First stencil, which are the rays coming out, and then you have to let that dry, and then I'll do that white kind of glow around the heart, let that dry, and then do the heart on top. So it's, I don't know, like, as a kid, I just really felt impatient and I wanted to get out in the streets and put up posters. So I would just rush everything, and it came out kind of, I don't know, messy. But last night I was just kind of taking my time, having fun with it. And it's really fun when you have a friend making stuff with you. A certain friend of mine was at my house as well, and we're making posters. So I'll leave it at that. And yeah, I can just show you some of the stuff. So like, this stencil is the one I use for the rays. And you have to have this part, otherwise your rays will just flop out anywhere. And that's the tricky part about making stencils, is you got to be conscious and aware of what you want from your image. Like, so when I made these little monster head stickers, I stenciled those as well with this stencil. Now you have to make sure as you're cutting and you want that outline, you can't cut certain parts, right? Otherwise your image will just fall straight through. And that's the tricky part about stenciling. I did a very complicated, kind of mandala design. Now this one was super tricky because in the original one, I don't know if you guys can see, like these kind of little leaf things, they were complete circles, but you can't cut that, otherwise it'll just be one giant silhouette, you know? So stenciling kind of takes a lot of trial and error. You don't really know how complicated and difficult and frustrating it can be until you actually do it. And then a lot of people think, like, once you cut something you weren't supposed to cut, then crap, I gotta start all over. But a little kind of secret is literally you can just tape it back and then just cut again where you were supposed to cut, and it'll be fine. So if you ever try to stencil and you just like, you're getting frustrated because you keep messing up or the blade is slipping, don't get too frustrated. You can always just tape it back and keep going. And I always recommend like cutting something on or like a poster board, kind of like what the rays were. But like this one, for the heart one that I did, this is on a really thick, this is literally a cover of a notebook. So it's a lot thicker because I always use an X-Acto knife. I either, like for something thicker like this, like a box cutter, or like the kind of thin, just like single bladed, you know, X-Acto knives. But really paper works fine. A lot of people don't like paper because it's super flimsy, but once you paint over it several times, it gets thick and it'll hold its form and it won't flop or bend anywhere. But yeah, I like making stencils because it's something that, like this one took hours to cut out. So I literally just kind of turned on a show that I was like going through, and then I just started cutting and watching. And so for you guys that like have your own art supplies right now, if you want to try to make a stencil, you can literally like, I think I drew this when I was 15, 16. And then my friend taught me how to cut out the stencil, and then I just did it right then and there. But the cool thing with like street art, really any art, my opinion, is it doesn't always have to have some crazy deep meaning. It can just be for fun. It can just be like, oh, I like that design and I like the way it looks, and you know, I'm just gonna go for it. Technically, I mean, there's no rules to street art. There shouldn't be. I know there's like different rules for different kind of genres of art, or like if you're trying to be, I don't know, like a sculptor, I don't know, you know. But with street art, you literally can do whatever you want. I've seen some pretty cool pieces and some cool sculpture pieces out, and they're really cool. Also, another movie I'd recommend watching is, if you haven't seen it, Exit Through the Gift Shop. And it's actually by Banksy. He helped make that one. But that's a funny one, and that's one of my favorite ones. But it's really cool because it really kind of shows the underground world of street art, and kind of a lot of the big major players in the street art world. And it's also funny. I think it's a good movie. But yeah. So actually, I'll do a couple more posters. But I don't know, does anybody have any questions or comments, concerns? I don't know. Jasmine, did you raise your hand, or? Oh, okay.
No, I'm good.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, also, okay, actually, before I do that, I will show you. So making stickers is one of my favorite things to do. And me and my friend used to make stickers literally just from like post office stickers. So like, that's my street art name, Creature, right? And then we would just kind of combine them to make big ones. I don't know if you can see like the back, right? So that's just literally one big sticker. And these are nice because, like, say you're walking on the street and you find a really cool spot, but there's a lot of people and you're like, well, I don't have time to whip out my bucket and my broom to put up some wheat pasting posters. All right. And then I did this stencil. I'm making a lot of this. I did this stencil once before. So my street art name is Creature, right? And the kind of an ongoing joke just that I have for myself is just, you don't really know what kind of creature this is supposed to be. Like, is it a cat? Is it a dog? Is it a bear? What is this thing, right? But I used to do like kind of paw prints. So I literally made this from a pizza box, and I would spray paint on the floor or like the sidewalk. I did this in front of PCC, I think, and it was kind of trailing from the grass over to a bus stop. And then I don't know, like street art can just be simple stuff like that. You kind of play with your surroundings, and it's just small stuff that, you know, honestly, not a lot of people are going to see, but for the people that do see it, they'll appreciate it. I hope they won't just see it as
I remember
whatever.
seeing one where somebody drew a Pac-Man, and then the dots that separate lanes on a street were the little thingies that they eat. That was really cool, I thought.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good, what are like some memorable things that you guys have seen on the street that you remember? I mean, or if you haven't, I would totally challenge you to, you know, next time you're out in the city, whether, I mean, it has to be driving now because got to be COVID safe. But like, find something cool that, like, you know, find some interesting street art. But is there, I don't know, anybody that has seen something that they really like, or that thought was really cool? Yeah. Do you want to share with us, Michelle, or?
I'm looking for a picture of mine.
Okay.
I'll share it when I find it.
Cool. So I'll put up another poster, and I'll do another poster, and then I'll do a stencil, and then maybe we can just open it up. Anybody has some other dialogue. And then there's one last video that I kind of want to share with everybody before we end. And it pretty much kind of encapsulates what I want to say. Encapsulates. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, and it's literally just about finding kind of beauty in everyday things. But anyways, I'm going to put up another poster because it's fun. Oh, okay. I want to show you this really quick. So before, with the original kind of heart ones, it was just the ray stencil and then the heart on top. But then I started experimenting, and like, I don't know if you can see it underneath, but there's a slight off-white with the mandala kind of design. And it just adds another layer, which I like really well. I don't know if you can see it, but I think I found another form. And that's like, I feel like I'm just rambling, but that's another cool thing with street art is like you have so much time to just perfect or experiment with different things and just find what you like. But there's no rush. Like you have so much
so
time.
there's this one I really like. It's in Santa Monica. I don't know.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like sign language love, but it's also like kind of a geometric graphic.
That's awesome. I really like that. You said that was in Santa Monica?
Yeah.
Nice. And I'm assuming just on a wall of like
of like a restaurant. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's super cool. Yeah. I don't know, like I love finding those big pieces of big murals because I'm like, first I was wondering like, did they get permission? Because if they didn't, I think that's even more impressive, like that they got that without getting caught.
I don't think that you can, I was trying to think about that. Like, is there a way to do it quick to paint a mural? Like you can, I don't, Yeah. I know that like, so Shepard Fairey, the guy that does Obey, I know he doesn't go out anymore to put up his own stuff because he's gotten caught and gotten in a lot of trouble. I'll go out and do it. But I mean, my whole thing is like whenever you go out, and they call it bombing, which I realize is a very insensitive term, but when you go out bombing, right, putting up posters or stickers or whatever, always have a buddy, right, your lookout. But honestly, the more people you have, kind of the better, because if you want to do a bigger piece, you can have your whole group starting on it, and it'll get done faster. But then again, more people, more noticeable. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's also nice when you're an adult and you can drive yourself. You don't have to rely on your mom, or you don't have to walk everywhere and bike everywhere. So that's also nice. Yeah, anyways, I'm going to put up a poster.
You're hilarious, Gabe. Don't have to rely on your mom.
Not anymore, at least, regarding that. I just need your help with tech stuff, so it's fine.
They also have like festivals now, right? Like where they just have a bunch of empty space and then people come, like artists come and paint a bunch of murals like all at the same time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's one in Hawaii that a lot of my friends kind of attend and take pictures of, and it's really cool.
That's awesome. Well, I know like street art can be anything. So like even chalk art. I know there's like the chalk festival over at the Paseo that we normally do every summer. And that's really cool to see that art, like blows my mind.
That's what I was going to say. I've seen the sidewalk stuff, not sidewalk, chalk at Paseo. And each person gets like a certain square and they can fill that square with whatever. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. You guys are
By the way, Gabe, I sent a bunch of pictures to Jasmine of back in the day. Remember when you guys did a whole art show in the PYC?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That was fun, dude. And I love that we have that space to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my more proud moments. As like a 15, 16-year-old kid, me and my best friend putting on an art show with many different street artists, like well-known in not just Pasadena, but like LA.
we got some food trucks to come, and there was a ton of people, and like that was really cool. That was really fun. And I mean, that's just like a kind of testament to our community here, like a big supporter of the arts and giving a voice to youth and young kids to really just express who we are. Can't really find that anymore.
This one's kind of
like-
cool.
Ooh, that's very cool.
Oh, that is cool.
It's another
Where was
heart.
that?
That's in Hawaii. That's in one of that festival.
Oh, that's cool.
Gabe, that just reminded me, dude, you've come full circle because you had that show back when you were 15 in the PYC, and it's a very no future arts thing. And here you are doing no future art.
10 years
That's
later.
awesome, right? Still at it, still doing it.
10 years.
I feel kind of old now.
Not as old as I feel, son.
Yikes.
So yeah, so this poster is the little monster head, but this was a good example of like layering. I did just the red and then the white pattern right behind it, and then just the creature face on top. I kind of like the way it looks, and I don't know if you could tell, I'm very inspired by Shepard Fairey. He's one of my all-time favorite artists just in general. Say what you will, like if you think he's a good artist or not. I like him. I like his style, and I don't know. He's really clean about his designs. I love his portraits that he does. He's a big inspiration in the street art community. So I kind of like take after his style a little bit. But and that's the other cool thing too. It's like with street art, you know, there's always like, oh, don't just copy other people's stuff. And I still like stand by that, but you can always take what influences you and make it your own, and then even take it further. So don't feel like you can't do something in a certain way because it looks too similar to someone else's style. It's like, dude, if you like it and if it's bringing you joy and it is your own, like it's an original work, it's not like you literally just printed something someone else did, go for it, you know? Just don't let the haters bring you down, you know what I'm saying? We'll let that dry for a second, and then I think I'll do a stencil on top. But I don't know, I think in the meantime, Jasmine, I have that video. Are you able to play it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Perfect.
let me pull it up just a second.
Yeah. You can play the whole thing. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So just to give a little context, I don't know if you guys have heard of the YouTube channel called Soul Pancake. Yeah. They had this video. They had a bunch of frames, and they gave some out to just people walking by, I guess. And they told them, frame something that you find beautiful. And then, yeah, so I'll let the video just speak for itself.
If this mission fails, it was all
Today I'm going to go out and try to find beauty in our surroundings.
I am gonna go find the most beautiful thing I could possibly find and frame it.
I want to look for things that most people might not think is beautiful and make it look beautiful.
I think I'm gonna find... I have no clue.
I want to find things that I find of interest to me.
I think I'm gonna find things in nature, in people. Flowers, butterflies,
Graffiti, garbage, food. I like food.
Let's see here.
I had no idea that this is what I'd be doing today, but I'm excited about it.
This is awesome.
I'm just going to be spontaneous. Something that I see that I think is beautiful, I'm just going to frame it.
single day and never even take the time to stop and notice.
I'm not really an artist or that big into art, but it was cool looking at things in a different way.
Beauty is how you see it. And there are many, many things that are beautiful, and people, for some reason, can't find the beauty in it.
I think that if we took some time, if we looked up, we looked down, we looked at each other, we would find that there is beauty everywhere around us.
All right. Thank you, Jasmine. So,
That
yes,
was so cool. You're totally
shameless cameo,
famous.
little shameless plug, whatever. I'm a sellout. I'm just kidding. But yes, it was kind of cool to be on that video. I remember my friend actually sent me that because his mom saw it and he was like, wait, that's Gabe's. And he sent it to me and I was like, I'm famous, guys. But I mean, the video exactly kind of talks about what I think street art is. It's just finding beauty in everything around you. And once you like really get into it, you start noticing like, oh, that's a really cool wall. I can just totally imagine a mural right here. And it really starts, I think, kind of activating your imagination and stirring creativity. You go out in the city and it becomes just like, you know, your route to work, like turns into, you know, a canvas where you can just see like, wow, I can see that there. This would be a perfect spot for this, or this would be really cool for that. And I mean, yeah, there's kind of the whole controversy of like vandalism and graffiti, you know, damaging property. But my take is like, it doesn't really hurt anybody. And I mean, a big rule that I always have is just nobody's house or like residential area. Like that's messed up. But like if it's an abandoned building or a wall that you really like, go for it, you know, like why not? It's fun and creative, and really you're just sharing yourself and your art with everybody to see and participate in. I mean, I think half of what street art is actually putting up the art, and the other half is people looking at it. It wouldn't be art if nobody saw it. My opinion. It's kind of like the tree falls in a forest and no one's, or whatever, that whole thing. But what is art if it's not viewed, you know? That's deep. Anyways, yeah. I don't know. How are we doing on time, Jasmine? She gave a shot.
Sorry, I was muted. No, I think we're good. I don't know if there's any questions or if you're wrapping up. Or...
Yeah, I'll open it up. If you guys have any comments, questions, suggestions, if you guys know like any other cool documentaries or just like different things to look at, I'll open the floor.
I gave Jasmine a bunch of pictures from that art show that you did. I don't know if you can show them, but I think that would be cool.
I was working on that. Let me see if I can get those just to.
I think we did a couple shows. I know we did one. I'm trying to remember the name.
Oh.
Text Effect, something like
The
that.
street art randomly
that was
I
one.
totally liked, and it wasn't. I don't think it was you guys, but it was so like cool just to see all this different street art in different places. I even took a picture of one with, you could see the downtown
oh yeah,
buildings in the background, and it just shows like there were certain areas, especially in downtown, that was totally wide open to artists to come down and just tag up everything. It was so cool.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say get permission or go to a place like that where they have openly given permission to artists to put stuff up.
Yeah. You're kind of glitching up a little bit, but I think I got the gist of what you're saying.
Oh, sorry.
Did glitch a little. Okay, I think I can share these photos. So let me just try that. And Alicia, you might have to like. Well,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. This was one I saw downtown and I thought it was really cool.
That's cool.
Oh, is it like flashing for you guys? She's freezing up. Or is that me?
No. This one was like an Aztec. This was one of your art shows.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear
That
me?
was cool. Mm-hmm.
I'll be your for me, okay?
I'm just gonna keep scrolling through.
That was another one of your creatures, and that little one says "Go big or go home."
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was something downtown, I think. Oh, that's one of his.
There's
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My friend.
Drive. There's another one.
Yeah.
That's from the art show.
Yeah, in the front door of the PYC on the Walnut side.
Mm-hmm. Pencils.
Creature in the middle. That one I liked. I saw that one downtown also.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, that's wheat pasted right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the LA is in red. Did you guys notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
The piece LA. Yeah.
That's
And then
cool.
that's what I talked about at the very beginning. I was driving to work and I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so stinking cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why that spoke to me.
That's crazy though when you think about someone had to climb up.
How
on
did they
top.
get there, right?
Yeah, that's the
Exactly.
cool thing, but also terrifying. Like street artists are crazy because they'll figure out ways to climb on roofs. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've climbed on some roofs myself, but I don't always recommend it. It's really scary. But like this over a freaking freeway.
Well, that you had
that's
to
terrifying.
they probably had a crew and were very careful about that, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then that's where you put one of your stickers
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was a target.
Nice.
That actually stayed up for years. 'Cause
Years.
I
It
went
was
back
up
like
there.
years later,
Yes.
and it was still there. And I was like, oh,
Yes.
that's cool.
Might still be there actually. Go check. Just kidding.
I think I tried looking for it.
Oh, yeah,
That's right by where Snow's
We're in Colorado. Yeah.
now. Yeah. That was up
That
there,
was-
and then
Oh,
I
sorry.
think they got taken down.
That's the
Yeah.
picture of the wall of street art that you can barely see with downtown LA in the background.
I can't
Yeah.
see it with the glare, but
Oh yeah.
And that one, I don't know who did that, if that was a Shepherd Ferry one, but I loved that symbol.
that's cool.
Love it.
Yeah. See, that's a cool thing
There's-
with street art is, oh yeah.
I love that, Gabe.
You can play with your surroundings too, like the way
Mm.
a building is formed or like just the structure of it. You can use that like
Yeah.
exactly like that. Yeah,
Right.
it's pretty cool. Anyways,
Nice.
oh my
I love
gosh, I look like a child.
That little piece in the back that says, "Who am I?" Or is that
I think it's Who Are You?
Who are
Who Are You?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love that one, Gabe. I try to find ones with not your friend in it so that you can keep his identity.
Anonymous, yes.
I think maybe. Oh, that's it. That's the last one.
Oh, that's cool. I don't even remember doing that. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, anyways, I mean, if any of you guys are down to like make some posters or get into street art, or if you want to just know more about it, we can totally socially distance in my backyard and hang out and do that. So just hit me up whenever you guys want. Hopefully you guys know where I live. If you know where church is, then you know where I live. Yeah, I'm super down to always collaborate with anybody and also learn different forms of art and adapt it to my own. And I hope you guys do the same or encouraged to do so. Or even if you want to do like maybe socially distanced outdoor movie night, we can watch like one of those documentaries, or if anybody has any recommendations. But yeah, I'm always down to collaborate. But I think no one else has any comments, questions, or anything, then we'll just kind of wrap up. But yeah, I hope you guys kind of, I don't want to say you just learned something. I mean, I'm sure you did, but got to know me a little bit more and just street art in general. There's so much to it. Like I barely even scratched the surface. So I would encourage you, if it really interests you, then totally dig into it, research on your own, watch some cool documentaries. But thank you guys for being a part and tuning in. I had fun, and it's really fun. So yeah, claim space. Yep.
Awesome.